The automobile industry is too important to just let the big three or any one of the big three go under. It creates thousands and thousands of job losses in the auto industry, and then tens of thousands more in the suppliers and everything else.
Dangerous ripple effect for the economy. That's what New York Senator Charles Schumer warns could happen if Washington doesn't help the auto industry. Now, Democrats want to pump at least $25 billion of the $700 billion bailout package into saving Chrysler, GM, and Ford. The big three are bleeding cash. Thousands of jobs could be lost, and plants are shutting down. At the same time, car executives are appealing to D.C. for help, pleading for money and a lifeline. The question is, how did this happen? Why did this happen? And who's responsible? People in power need to be held accountable, and that's what we're doing tonight. Last month, we had our 10 most wanted list, the culprits of the financial collapse. The truth is, there are way more than 10. So tonight, we want to continue our list. This time, we're naming names from the auto industry and telling you who drove it to the brink of financial ruin. Who's first on the list? Here's 360's Randy Kay.
At 6'4", this former Duke University basketball star is in the game of his life, trying to save General Motors from collapse and keep his job. Rick Wagner, the company's youngest CEO in more than half a century, is under fire for leaving the automaker running on fumes.
Rick Wagner needs to go because he simply failed to make General Motors competitive.
Wagner was named CEO 8 years ago. The company has lost $72 billion in the last 4 years. Last month alone, GM car sales dropped 45% to their lowest level in nearly 40 years. GM stock down 83%. Is it massive labor costs, the credit crunch, or a leader out of touch with consumer demand for more fuel-efficient cars?
He failed to see the importance of the hybrid coming simply because they didn't see gasoline ever becoming expensive enough.
Peter Morisi, an expert on international economic policy, says Wagner kept GM focused on trucks and SUVs, which brought higher profits. Under Wagner, the company spent more than $6 million lobbying Congress during the first half of 2007, fighting tougher fuel economy standards. GM wouldn't comment for this story, but Wagner spoke with Automotive News.
I think we got a great team at GM.
As head of GM's team, Wagner is taking heat for union contracts that pay some auto workers as much as $75 an hour, factoring in pension and future health care.
He should have simply sat across the table from the UAW and said, I can't compete.
Of course, Wagner isn't the only CEO on the line. Chrysler's Bob Nardelli and Ford's Alan Mulally are too. They've all asked for a bailout from Congress.
The one group of people that are not to blame for GM's failure is the taxpayers. You know, ultimately, the CEO is responsible for the outcomes, and that is the bottom line.
How does Wagner respond to those blaming him for dragging GM down?
I think people who have that view, have they really looked at the cause of the current situation, which in this case is clearly, an unusual and almost historical difficulty in the credit market. Wagner's
credit? Just fine. Last year, his compensation package totaled a whopping $15.7 million, up 64% from the year before.
The losses keep mounting, and Rick Wagner keeps getting raises. It's just an absurd situation.
Wagner now says the company is willing to place limits on executive salaries. He has no plans to resign. Thinking back to his days playing ball, Wagner has said the big and fast team wins. If that's true, he needs to score some points. GM CEO Rick Wagner, one of the culprits of the collapse. Randy Kay, CNN, New York.
So he spent millions on lobbyists resisting greater fuel efficiency over the years, and under his leadership, GM has lost more than $70 billion. That's in the last 4 years. So Rick Wagner, CEO of GM, is the first of our auto industry culprits of the collapse. Tomorrow, we'll reveal the next name in our list of most wanted.